In this video, we're gonna learn TypeScript. Now, most people say, hey, I'm a JavaScript fan. I'm not gonna learn TypeScript. I use JavaScript, I know JavaScript. I'm not gonna learn TypeScript. So, if you're a JavaScript fan and if you think that TypeScript, I'm not gonna learn this. It's because people say that TypeScript is replacement for JavaScript. And you know what? It is not. Because TypeScript code it compiles into JavaScript code. So technically TypeScript is JavaScript. And TypeScript is more cool, more awesome. It has a tons of features. So again think JavaScript is a dynamic language. It only get errors on runtime. But TypeScript, because it's a compiled language, it gets error on the compilation time. So you will just know, okay, there is an error, I need to fix it. But in JavaScript, you don't know. You just go and just upload your code. And then you think, oh bro, this is not what I want. So that's why people use TypeScript. Okay, now let's just get started with TypeScript. So what you can see that I have just a package.json. So what I did is just run yarn init. If you use npm, just npm init, and this command is gonna just ask you some question, and when it just done asking question, then it will generate a package.json which look like this. Okay, we're gonna modify this a little bit. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna add a script section there. Okay, this is just gonna be an object, and then inside of this we're gonna actually add a two script. So there is gonna two scripts, and the first script we're gonna add is start script, and they're gonna just run node dist / index.js. You cannot type something like just index.js. The reason why we didn't type index.js because TypeScript code is gonna compile into a folder, a JavaScript file. So that's why we're typing dist / index.js. So dist folder is what we're gonna generate when our code is compiled. So this actually just the compiled code. So we're gonna run we're gonna actually just run the compiled code. Now we're gonna add a dev script, and this dev script is gonna just run nodemon dist / index.js. Once again, we're just running dev as nodemon dist / index.js. So what this means, nodemon is just a package, a library for JavaScript that is whenever your file changes, it's gonna restart the server, reload the server. So that's why we use that for development, so we don't need to manually restart the server every time we make a change. Now we're gonna add the final script. That's gonna be just compile script. So we're gonna say compile, and this gonna just run tc source. So this time we're not typing the dist source / index.ts. So this is gonna be the file we're gonna compile our code. And lastly, actually, let's just show you. Okay, so we're gonna install TypeScript there. So I will just do a yarn add, and I will just install TypeScript. Okay, now with TypeScript, you will just make sure it's so mostly you're gonna add TypeScript as a dev dependency, and you type /. Now TypeScript is a type language, so means everything you need to define types for that. Like in JavaScript, you type let a equals to 12, and then you say let a equals to some kind of string. But TypeScript don't let you do that. In TypeScript, you need to define the types for your variables and other things. So I will say type / node. So we can install types for node, TypeScript types for node, and we also need nodemon. And lastly, let's just get these things. Yeah, let's just get. Okay, sorry, my mistake. I just cut this with Control C. Okay, I will just install that. If you use npm, just add npm install there instead of yarn add. So when I do a yarn add, run npm install. When I do yarn, just replace this with npm. Okay, there it is. Now what we are gonna do is we're gonna say yarn yarn compile, and then it says tsc source index.ts, and you know what, index.ts doesn't exist, so we're gonna cut this and we're gonna create that over there. So we will create a new folder, actually new file, and we'll call the source/index.ts. So yeah, in TypeScript you type .ts extension instead of just .js. I will just add a pretty simple log command there. I don't know, my VS Code is lagging a lot, and I will say hello world. Okay, that's a lot lagging. Okay, there's the file. We just type pretty simple console log, and then I'm gonna run the compile command, which is this compile, and that should compile the index.ts inside of. Okay, I got this. It's my mistake. So when you do TypeScript coding, you need a tsconfig.json, and you know what? Most people are gonna just say tsconfig.json. So there is an npm package that provide tsconfig.json. So this is just one file. This is the output directory. That's why we have dist there. That's why I'm talking about. They're gonna compile the code to dist folder. That's why we type dist there. And we will just come into terminal, cd dot dot. I will say yarn compile. And that should compile the code. Really? You know what? I have a better way to do this. Come into your package.json, and where you have this compile script, type watch script. Watch. And right there, just add a dash double flag there. So this means watch. So you're gonna watch every file in the source directory, or even though we don't need this, and we can just cd or we can just say yarn watch, and this should watch all the files. Yeah, there it is. Now whenever we make changes to this folder index.ts, okay, it created this folder, and in that we have an index.js. And if you look, the file is technically the same file. Why? Because this is just plain JavaScript. We didn't use any TypeScript feature, so I just used them. Okay, so the first thing in TypeScript, you define a variable. So let's just say const new variable, and you say something like 12. So it has a sorry, I just say let. Okay, now if I want to change this variable, new var equals to a type string there, any string, let's say hello world. Okay, now it says this string is not assignable to type number. So this is type checking. So this new var is a number, but we are assigning value of a string. Okay, that's awesome. Okay, now what we can do is we can even type string there, or if we want to accept these types, let's say I want to accept string from there, you can type colon and type string, and you can add a pipe there to actually say that I want to accept this and this both. So I will say that I will expect a number, and I will also expect null. Okay, so these are three type it can get. So if I say new var equals to a number, or I even say null, it doesn't matter. But when I say something like undefined, it actually gives me error. Undefined is not assignable to type string, number, or null. Awesome. Well, let's say sometime you don't need this type checking, so you can type the any type. So this means you can assign literally any value in this. So I can say new var equals to, it can be a boolean value. Okay, it can be literally it can be undefined as well. So that's how you work in TypeScript types. Now there are some of the types of TypeScript. Okay, sorry. Okay, now the first type I'm going to talk about. So I'm going to just create some variables and talk about their type. So first of all, we're going to have a so to define types, as I told you, there's just a you can type colon and then type, and you can separate them with pipe, something like that. And you can add the initialization value. Okay, that's how you define them. But like string, know how much type they have. So first of all, you have string. You know what? I will use multi comments. Okay, first of all, we have string, we have number, we have boolean, we have null, we have undefined, we have array like this, and array also take a type, so we can say type and then the array, and it also have an object, so you type object. You also have functions. So the functions, okay, there it is, function. Let's just talk about function. So in TypeScript, if you want to define a function type, you will type something like this, okay, and then type the value that this function returns. Okay, let me show you that in a second. So I will say const new or I can say function fun. Okay, and I will just assign the value, something like that. Okay, I can say that return string. This function return string. Okay, and now I should also only return a string, otherwise this gonna fail. Okay, so if I type return no, I cannot return null, I cannot return a number like 12. No, I cannot return them. I can only return string. But sometimes you actually have a lot of types there, and null, undefined, and let's say you want to accept string, null, undefined everywhere. Let's say there also you want to actually accept undefined as well. You're actually repeating your code, and let's say a lot of times you're actually repeating your code with a string, null, undefined, or any types. So what you can do is you can create your own types. So let me show you how you can create them. So I will actually separate them with creating variables. I will say types, and I will say function type. Okay, now I will talk about creating types. So we can create your own types. We can create our own custom types. So for that we can say type, and we can name our types anything we want. So let's say string, no, not string. So let's say my type, I can say, and then we can pass in the value it can actually accept. So I will just pass these three one, and I can now if you actually hold on that, you see it runs these values. Okay, awesome. Okay, now you can use them wherever you want. You can use them there. So you can say my type. Now this function can just see this. So this return my type. Okay, and my type return string, null or undefined. And right there also we can actually accept these values. My type. That's awesome. Now if I actually wanna just accept something like a number, it actually give me error. Yay! We can only store string, null or undefined. Okay, that's how we create our own types. Now we just talk about classes. We can create some classes. So object, class, new class. You can use object-oriented programming very well in this, and you can also create an interface. My interface. That's another way to define types in TypeScript. And so you can say something like, I take a name, and that's gonna be a string, or let's say it's gonna be my type, or let's just say string, and it takes an ID, and that's gonna be a number. Let's say take a function that is just a function that returns string. Let's say this return boolean, and it takes an argument. Okay, like that. And we need to also define the type of them. So argument 1, let's say it's gonna be a number, or it can be any, or we can say number. Okay, number. Okay, that's how you use interface. Now if you actually create an object, so create a new object. So I will say let obj colon, and we can say my interface equals to. Now if I control space, you can see that it needed these things. And now if I want to actually make them optional, I can add a comma there. So let's just say that this function is optional. So now I can actually just say ID 1, and I can say name some string. Actually type a real name, and now it doesn't give me an error. So if I actually not have this name, it's gonna give me error. But if I don't have this function, it's not gonna give me error because it's optional. Okay, but if I actually just remove this question mark from there, it says, hey bro, you need a function there. So I will actually add the function like this. So this is an optional thing. We have learned a lot in TypeScript, but we just learned a lot more. So arrays, another thing, arr colon. Now defining arrays is interesting. So I will say my interface and then add these braces means array. And now in these arrays I need to actually pass an object, and that should have these 3 values, and that's what you need. Now why use TypeScript then, bro? Really, why use TypeScript? As I told you, you need TypeScript. Why? Because it type check this. So actually, let me actually just done this thing and show you how. Okay, so in JavaScript, let's just create a new JavaScript file, a test.js. Okay, and let's just do the same thing. Let's just create a function. Okay, now this function can return anything. Okay, so let's just say it takes an num1. Let's just say this is a function that just sum 2 numbers. Very simple thing. So sum. Okay, now we can say something like num1 plus num2. Okay, it looks good for us, but let's just say someone just run this instead of passing numbers to them. They pass something like string, numbers in string, like 1 and 2, and they think that it's gonna return 3. Obviously not. So if you look, if I could open a new terminal and I run this file, so I will say node source/test.js. I should return this, so we need to log this output to there. So we will just come and cut this output, paste this over there. Okay. Okay. Now if I run this, it returns 12. Really? It's not type checking this. But if I create the same function in TypeScript, let me show you. So if I create the same function there, so I will say const new, let me say some. We need to define the type. What it return? What it return? It return a number. Then we need to pass what argument it takes. It takes a num1, that is a number. It takes num2, which is another number. Now anyone cannot pass. Now yeah, there you see. Sorry, my mistake. Okay, now what it says? It says it says that you need these arguments even if I type some return number. So let's say 1 2. It actually don't type check this, I don't know why, but yeah, you need to pass in the number. So you can either pass them right there or you can just remove them from there, and you need to say num1 colon number and num2 is another number. Okay, and then you can say number, and we can say return num1 plus num2. Okay, and it just says yeah, there it is. That's what I'm talking about. If you pass some arguments there, you need to pass them and the type also. So you need to actually just type the same thing. So I will just copy this and I will paste this over there. Now it's happy. Okay. Now if I actually want to run this function in TypeScript, and I will say I will pass some string there. It says, hey bro, you need a number. Really, that's the cool thing about TypeScript. So we need to pass in the numbers. Otherwise, this is not gonna give us the output. So if I actually type a string there, and I try to run the program, so I will just compile it. It gives me an argument of type string is not assignable to type parameter of type number. Sorry, assignable to parameter of type number. So it's never gonna actually let me run this. Now gonna let me run this program. Yeah, it's never gonna compile that, and never it's gonna run. That's what it is. That's why we use TypeScript. So we need to provide the actual types that we defined previously. So now it should give us the actual thing. So we need to actually log this out. Log. I will just copy this. And yeah, it returned me 3. It cannot even return me some errors, runtime errors. And that is special about TypeScript. So we have learned a lot of TypeScript actually. If I'm forgetting anything, no. We learned a lot. If you want a full course on TypeScript, let me comment down below and I'll make a full course on TypeScript. TypeScript is something like I've never used. I have think that it isn't worth learning. But when I learn TypeScript, I cannot use the plain JavaScript then. literally in everything I find myself just finding that there is an alternative in TypeScript there. uh, Even if I use something like Next.js, I used React, and I use React with TypeScript. That's why I like TypeScript. These types just make awesome. Yeah, if you will, and let's say you want to use React with TypeScript, then I will probably actually. Okay, I have my browser open, but I've never used this. So what I will do is I actually just go to ProgrammingFire.com, go to post, and go to get started with React TypeScript. So if you use React and you also know React and you also know TypeScript and you want to use both combined, then use this. Go to this, get started with TypeScript, React TypeScript, and you will find yourself just read this one time, and you will know how to use React with TypeScript. That's about it. I hope you enjoyed video and learned something new. I will meet you later.